Hi guys, it's your girl Naya and I make content on all things beauty, lifestyle, and relationships, and today I'll be getting into my wedding. If you follow me on TikTok, then you may already know I got married in May of 2024 and had a beautiful wedding with all my friends and family. While planning my wedding, I wanted to incorporate some untraditional things that made it unique and special to my husband and I. Now, if you are a 2025 or a 2026 bride, listen up, because here are 10 unique things that I did for my wedding that I think would be really cool or entertaining to incorporate in yours. Number one is private vows. Now, my husband and I did do traditional wedding vows in front of all of our friends and family, but we started off with private vows. I did not want my husband to see me before I walked down the aisle, so we got ready in two separate areas at the St. Regis. When we did our private vows, we did them without looking at each other, and we did them away from all of our friends and family. It was a very intimate moment with just us, the photographer, the videographer, and our wedding team, and it was the most special moment ever. I have known my husband since I was 16, going on 17, and we've basically grown up together. Our love and our bond is something that I really hold sacred. While he gives me butterflies and we have a romantic connection, it's also very familial. He's known me through so many different phases of myself, through waves of confidence, through waves of self-discovery, through growing through relationships with my family. So he's been there for me for so much, and I have been there for him. I was there when he got his first apartment. He was there when I got my first car. It was just like, we really have so much history together, and talking about it could be really anxiety producing in front of everyone that we know. So I just thought that it was really sweet that we were able to have a moment to ourselves and be able to just talk about our experience and talk about our love with just the two of us. We hand wrote our vows down the morning of our wedding. We had a moment of silence, and I want to say there was not a dry eye in the room from production. He was tearing up, I was tearing up. It was a very emotional time. Since we did private vows and I was able to basically just bare my soul out to him at that moment, I was also able to get makeup touch-ups from my makeup artist before going off on my big day, and then doing our wedding vows then. I didn't want our public wedding vows to be something that gave us cold feet. It's almost like having a ceremony before the ceremony, and I think the greater emotion came from us still not looking at each other, but just feeling and hearing the words that we're saying and taking that all in. Our vows were just like affirmations for us. That is the highlight of my wedding. That is my favorite part of the day. The next thing I would say that we did that was unique was a first touch and a gift exchange. Now, many people do a first look for their wedding just so they can get those individual portraits before the big day. It was just really important for me to have that aha moment when I was walking down the aisle, and I'll be real, I just wanted to see him cry. I want to cry, I want him to cry, I want that moment to be as dramatic as I've always seen in the movies. He'd never seen my wedding dress, he'd never seen my wedding makeup. It's basically just like him seeing the most bridal, wifey version of me, and I wanted that to be a surreal moment, and I wanted it to be a surprise. So what we did was a first touch and a gift exchange. As I said in the first tip, we did private vows. So I was basically holding his hand and hearing him speak about our relationship and how much we've helped one another grow. And that was like almost like meeting for the first time again. When you're with someone for a long time, you have those same flutters and jitters as when you first started dating. And that's actually a good thing. When you become comfortable with someone and your body isn't in fight or flight, to feel like you can fully be yourself with somebody. But there was just something so electrifying about like having a first touch, letting him know I'm here, us being grounded in the moment. I want to commit to you, I'm ready to commit to you, I'm excited to commit to you. And then on top of that, being able to recite our vows, I just felt like a first touch was so powerful. So to just like hold each other and affirm each other and feel each other's words was just so important to me, and I feel like doing a first touch is just really sentimental. If you're gonna skip the first look, you want some type of assurance, some type of connection before walking down the aisle, and that was it for us. We also paired that first touch with a gift exchange, which is very hard to coordinate without seeing anything. I had a long train to my dress, so we kind of had to like coordinate with my wedding team and production, so you didn't see any bits of me. We faced back to back with one another, and we exchanged a gift. And I also think that was really special to have just a small token of affection to show our love for one another, and we decided to swap fragrances. So my wedding fragrance is Creed Love and White, and I also got my husband a wedding fragrance from Creed. So now every time I spray Love and White, I make sure to do it like on occasion, and that bottle is sentimental to me because that was the gift that we gave each other before officially saying I do. I'll always smell that scent and think of all the emotions I felt during our private vows and just how I felt on our wedding day in general. By the way, I would highly recommend Love and White if you want to get it for yourself. I'm just reading off the notes here. Top notes are orange zest from Italy. Middle notes are Florentine iris, daffodils from France, magnolia, Bulgarian rose, and Tonkin rice. And the base notes are vanilla, ambergris, and Mysore sandalwood. In the citrus family, it smells really light, airy, and it makes you feel very warm and nurturing. So I just love the scent, and I feel like it complemented my look really well. There's one thing to look good from head to toe, but when you walk into a room and you smell great too, come on now. Like, there's nothing that tops that. The third thing that we did that was really unique that I would recommend other brides to do or incorporating in their wedding is, since we had a small bridal party, meaning just a maid of honor and a best man, they did walk out with us. His brother was standing beside him and my best friend was standing beside me, but once we were both at the altar, my best friend readjusted my dress and then both of them receded. I didn't want my best friend behind me, and I'm sure he wanted his brother to be able to experience it with the rest of the audience as well. So I just thought it was really special and really intimate to just have both of us at the altar together. We are the ones making these commitments. We are the ones prioritizing one another, and we want all of our friends and family to be a witness. And I also just think, like, this may not be the case, but mentally I'm just thinking about what our bridal party is doing while we're saying our vows. We're just standing there like I'm sure they'd like to cry or view or kind of take it all in peace with the rest of the audience. So I just felt like the most pleasant experience to be able to just have it be just us. Number 4, I've mentioned a bit previously, I like the idea of not having a huge bridal party. I understand that I live far away from a lot of my friends and family, and I didn't want it to be a financial obligation to people and to put stress in our relationship. Weddings are very time consuming, they're very costly, they're very hard to put together. My wedding took 2 years of planning. So if someone weren't able to make it to this day, to them it may just be a party, but to me, it's so special and so sentimental, and I didn't want to give the opportunity for someone to disappoint me if they weren't able to make it because of other means. I understand that, like, I'm not the center of everyone else's universe, and it's a blessing to have them come celebrate with me. I didn't want to add any extra pressure. If you can come. I want to see you there, I'm happy, but if you can't, like, life happens. I respect that. And I didn't have such a prominent role or necessary role in the planning or in the creation of the day. If you come, you come. If you don't, I wasn't gonna take it too personal. The only person I talk to every day outside of my husband is my best friend. The only other person my husband talks to every day outside of me is his brother. Those are the closest people to us to be able to calm our nerves, to be able to support us, and be able to, like, usher us through such a huge and monumental experience in our love. 5th tip I would say is have some form of live entertainment. These guests are coming from near and far to celebrate you and your love, and I think having a DJ is great. Like, I had a DJ too. They get the party going, have some good music, but I think live entertainment is a really great and creative way to engage your guests in a memorable experience. My husband and I invested on 3 forms of live entertainment. We did a saxophonist, we also did a fire dancer, and we also did a cigar roller. So you can have handmade cigars made with our wedding emblem on them. Our fire dancer did an hour solo, kind of an ambient lighting on the rooftop to kind of give more of a background to it. Loved her routine. And our saxophonist, along with the DJ, kind of went along with the music that was already in our set list, and he was amazing. Having a saxophone player go around, play music while we're having dinner, it just really set the tone for a very sophisticated and fun night. I loved having live entertainment. I love interacting with our vendors, and our guests love it too. They would take pictures with them. It was a really fun time. Number 6 I thought was really unique and fun about my wedding was a flower granny. I am down to 1 grandparent in my life. Both my paternal grandparents have passed, and actually last year, 3 months before my wedding, my maternal grandfather had died. So just being able to have my grandmother in such an important event in my life. I am her first grandchild to be married, so just being able to have her kind of like bless the aisle in a sense. She brought this level of matriarch energy, regalness. For me, I just felt like that was so symbolic and powerful of how our love will grow. And to add icing on the cake, she came out to my favorite Lana Del Rey song, Young and Beautiful. As she's coming out, she's like giving the thumbs up to my husband, encouraging, smiling at everybody. All you hear is Lana saying, "Will you still love me when I'm no longer?" Like, I wish I was in the crowd. I just feel like that was one of the things I had facilitated for my wedding. And the way I planned it was just so iconic. I wish I could see it for myself. And I wish she had more flower petals. No tea, no shade to my planner, but why did you give my grandmother like 12 letters? I was expecting her to come out with like droves of flowers, but that's here nor there. I just feel like the beauty of marriage is longevity. Everyone loves you when your titties are perky and your skin is great, no wrinkles and great collagen, and you're down to go everywhere and you travel the world. But as you age, as you have ailments, as you go through financial strain and family strain, will you love me through all of that? And I think she was a great representation of the generations of women in my family that have sacrificed for me to get to this moment, and kind of at the same time who have led me to be where I am today. I wanted her to have a big part of my wedding, and I thought this is a really creative way to integrate that. Number 7 is more what I didn't do. I didn't do a bouquet toss. If you guys know, traditionally in a wedding, all the women that aren't married, they would gather after the bride has gone down the aisle. The bride would take her bouquet and toss it, and the lucky single lady to get the flowers is next to be married. And that is traditional, but like I said, I wanted to do something different. I wasn't trying to be like everybody else. So something that I enjoyed that I did was I did a flower handout. So I had maybe about 8 to 12 white roses for my bouquet. And I had my wedding planner basically get like a huge pail of white roses. So all the single women came to the dance floor and they were handed white roses, and then we danced to Only Girl in the World by Rihanna. Want you to make me feel like I'm the only girl in the world. Okay, excuse me, I had to like go back to that dance party because it was the best time. I thought the rose handout was much more special, and it highlighted all the women that I love, and nobody had to get elbowed in the face for a half dozen roses. So it was very inclusive. Like, I'm all about making everybody feel like they're having the best time, and I don't want a whole bunch of single women to leave disappointed that they didn't catch a bouquet. Like, was it ever the highlight, you know? Number 8, that's also got me in a little trouble on TikTok, was no kids. I feel like my wedding was an evening wedding, which I think makes things different. And as I've mentioned before, there was a cigar roller, there was a fire dancer, we're on a rooftop. It's not really conducive for kids. Like, I'm thinking of someone who's 6 months, 2 years old, 3 years old. You're not having fun in an environment like this where it's an open bar, it's 98% adults. They're dancing, they're enjoying themselves, they're drinking, they're talking. I just feel like it wasn't an environment for kids to roam and play. And I've seen so many videos on TikTok or Facebook of there being something as like special as a first dance, and you have a kid at like 4 or 5 years old just running onto the dance floor, and then everyone's like, no, no. And it's like, what do you expect kids to do? Like, kids will be kids, and I don't think that our wedding day was that type of party. My goal was for it to be very swanky, very luxurious, very sophisticated, so I just felt like it wasn't the space for little kids to have fun. Like, there really wouldn't be anything for them to do. There's no ball pit, there's no clown, you know, like, it's not that kind of party. So I made sure that I told my guests a year in advance that there would be no kids. This is what I said. We love your little ones. However, we have decided to keep our wedding and reception an adults-only event, with the exception of a few members of our immediate family. All guests are 18 years or older. We encourage you to use this evening as a date night. So literally everyone at my wedding was 21 and above, and we had a ball. So I still hear about it to this day. So I don't regret it. but I understood if people couldn't make it for kids. Like, I was totally respectful of that, and they were able to RSVP know in advance. The ninth thing that I had that was unique to my wedding that I think that you should enjoy in yours is a grand exit. When looking for ways to make my wedding day unique, when I was going through my bridal era, my fiance era, I love fireworks, I love cold sparks, I love a blimp, I love some type of grand, like, see you later. And one of the main reasons I actually chose my wedding venue is because it had a helipad. My grand exit was a helicopter ride with me and my husband at the end of the night. We did it in the center of Atlanta. When we left off, we got to see the whole city below us, and it felt like us against the world. It felt like we can do anything together, we can achieve anything together, we can conquer anything together. And just to have that like 15 minutes alone in the sky to decompress and just express how much we loved each other and appreciate each other, and to just like end on a high, was the best wedding exit that we could have. I even like when people throw like rose petals and the couple walks out first, or we do like a flash mob, but I do think it's worth it to kind of seal the day with something really exciting and really personal to you guys. We actually did a helicopter ride in New York City for one of our anniversaries, so it felt like just a really just nostalgic but epic moment, and I would recommend it for other couples. And my last tip, something unique. It wasn't as much related to the wedding as I would say is related to wedding budgeting, was our honeymoon. So my husband and I had a wedding budget, and during the wedding process we had deviated from that budget, so we decided to have a delayed honeymoon. Finances are very important to us, being debt-free is very important to us, so we wanted to make sure that we paid down that X amount of money before spending even more money. So we found a way to use all of our points to cover our flights and then save up for our accommodations so that we can enjoy our honeymoon. So we'll be having our honeymoon on our 1-year anniversary. And I think that's really great. You hear a lot of brides say they have like honeymoon blues because they go from the big wedding with all their friends and family, they have a super great vacation, and then it kind of trails off. Like all the things you had been planning for the past 1.5, 2 years, or 6 months kind of dissipates, and all the fun and excitement that you were planning for kind of disappears. So we had this really beautiful wedding weekend. We had a welcome party, we had our wedding, we had recovery brunch the next day, and then we were able to stay home for a couple of days to kind of decompress with one another, and then we were able to plan our honeymoon for a year later. And it just gave us something in the future to look forward to. And not only am I looking forward to our honeymoon, I'm also looking forward on recapping on how we've grown as a couple in that 1 year. It's a honeymoon / vision retreat, like making it to the other side, becoming husband and wife, becoming more devoted to our faith, becoming more disciplined in our finances. Where do we see our future going together, and how have we done so far in year 1? We want to set that precedent with our anniversary trip and just dedicate that time to seeing how much we've grown as a couple. I'm actually excited to film that for you guys. I'm gonna make a vacation vlog for sure. Those are my tips on how to be unique for your wedding. I've been wanting to make this video for a while, and I'm glad that I have moved my platform over to YouTube to be able to share more with you guys. If you have more questions about my wedding, make sure to comment below, and I would be glad to share it with you guys. I also have 2 bonuses for you guys that I just thought about that are unique to my wedding. One is that I had a videographer or photographer, which are pretty traditional for weddings, but I also had a wedding content creator. And with my wedding content creator, I was able to get a turnaround time of 24 hours of photos and videos of my big day. I was also able to create content, repurpose them for TikTok, which really helped with my growth. Being able to have that person taking the behind the scenes, getting curated content with your guests, coming up with ideas on how you want to tell the story of your big day, which is amazing. And lastly, another unique thing I did, I forgot to mention, was my guest book. I think it's really awesome if you're able to have some type of digitals or photos of your guests as they sign and say something special about you for your big day and they wish you well. I'm gonna make sure to put on the screen a list of vendors that I used for my wedding. Make sure you screenshot them. I had the very best wedding team that I would 10 out of 10 recommend for you all. I would honestly invest 1,000,000 times over into my glam and my photography for the day. Your wedding is 5 hours, the photos are forever. You wanna look your best, you wanna feel your best, you wanna be able to memorialize this moment that you spent so much money and time and energy on for the rest of your life. If you haven't already, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and share this video with a future bride, or save this for when you become a bride. If you've made it this far, I wanna thank you so much for supporting me and being able to watch this whole thing through. I'm deeply appreciative of all you guys coming here for my YouTube journey, and I can't wait to post for you guys again. See you next week, bye.